Long duration heat wave continues across the low country of South Carolina. Yesterday's high at Charleston International Airport, 97, with many heat index values across the Charleston metro and up and down the Highway 17 corridor, approaching 110, even exceeding 110 briefly. That's why a heat advisory is in place again today. It's forecasting another high temperature of 97. We'll be in the low 90s by noon, mid 90s at 4. Notice a pretty decent risk for scattered storms again this afternoon. And boy, with all that heat and humidity, these things are rocking and rolling. Storm Prediction Center outlining another risk of severe storms. It's a low end risk, but you know what? This happens to be over your house. Not very low, is it? A few pockets of wind damage expected with this, and with any storm that develops later today, not all of us will see it, but if you do, you're going to get torrential rain and nearly continuous cloud to ground lightning. So just keep that in mind. Heat risk continues tomorrow with a heat advisory in place today. Going to have another one of those tomorrow. The heat risk is up in the major category. By the way, this product's really good. It's from the National Weather Service. It takes your climate, where we live in our history, and says, okay, when we take into all these considerations into account, this is what the level of heat impact, what you're experiencing right now, would be based off of history. Like, is it affecting people who are sensitive to heat? Is it affecting everyone? Does it start having infrastructure impacts? Like, do we have power outages? Things like that. So major means that most people feels discomfort, people who are ill or sensitive to heat, the elderly, pets, and children. You really start to feel this. Once we move into the next category, which we have for tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, into the extreme heat zone, that's when it impacts the entire population, not just those of us who may be sick or may have a certain sensitivity to heat. All populations are impacted by this. As we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, if these trends hold, you see that magenta region, that extreme heat. And this could also be the setup that gives us a risk of power outages. I first highlighted that late last week, that if this went on as long as I thought it may, that we could have some impacts on the power systems as we move toward the middle and end of this week. Well, now we're encroaching on that time zone and that time period. And the National Weather Service picking up on that. That's one of the factors that goes into the extreme heat risk area, is will it impact infrastructure? And it may. So that's something we got to keep an eye on. But by the time we get to Sunday and Monday, the heat collapses. Let me show you what's going on. This is the above surface temperatures and wind map from the European model. Notice Saturday, strong heat signal. Those bright oranges, west winds just above the ground. That's going to heat us up near 100 most likely Saturday. But by the time we get to Sunday, Monday, that changes and temperatures start to drop. As we move toward Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there's going to be our hottest days. Look for highs in the upper 90s to near 100. By the time we get to Friday and Saturday, that's when heat index values may approach those critical levels above 110 for a long period of time in the afternoon hours. That can make you sick really quickly. That's something we got to keep an eye on. Then we take a little bit of a hit on Sunday in the temperature department, high in the mid 90s. Notice, too, the rain chances start to go up Saturday and Sunday. In fact, by Saturday, Sunday, we could have a fairly active storm pattern here setting up for about 3 or 4 days. That's something to keep an eye on. Good news, it'll break the heat, and it'll give us some much-needed rain. The bad news is, with all that heat around, those storms could be pretty strong. So that's something to keep an eye on. But before we get there, we got to get through the heat the next few days. Extreme heat possible by the middle and end of the week. Keep it right here. I'll keep you updated as we get closer and know more. Have a good one.